Mariam dashed across the sunlit soccer pitch of Dakar Heights, her cleats kicking up sparks of dust as the final whistle blew. The crowd's cheers still rang in her ears as she bounded toward the locker rooms, eager to celebrate the end of term with her teammates. Inside, though, a small package lay on the bench beside her locker, wrapped in plain brown paper. Her heart thudded as she slit the tape and pulled out a small cassette and a handwritten note. "Play me. Your secret is out." In the quiet of the empty corridor, Mariam pressed her fingers to her temples. Memories of whispered rumors and late-night thefts resurfaced. Rumors that she, the school's celebrated soccer star and role model, had masterminded last year's campus theft ring. She turned the cassette over in her hands. How had someone dredged up such a thing now on the very last day? As the final bell's distant chime echoed through the halls, shock and dread settled in her chest. Mariam found Victor in the debate club room, his notes scattered across a desk as he prepared for the championship. Though their circles rarely overlapped, she needed his analytical mind. Victor looked up, eyes widening when she handed him the tape. "You trust me?" she asked quietly. He set his jaw. "More than I trust half the faculty." He led her to the AV lab, where rows of aging recorders flickered under harsh fluorescent lights. They inserted the cassette into a dusty player. A distorted voice crackled, naming Mariam as the criminal mastermind behind a spree of midnight thefts, jewelry, phones, even trophies. Victor rewound and replayed the message, his brow furrowed. "Someone wants to ruin you, and the principal's reputation," he said. Principal Philip had championed Mariam as a role model. Word of scandal could shatter his leadership. The tape ended with a sinister laugh. As they exchanged a determined glance, the final bell tolled, and the clock began to tick. Mariam and Victor retraced her steps from the previous year, scouring campus for anyone with motive or opportunity. They started in the library, where books had gone missing alongside other small valuables. Shelves loomed like silent sentinels as Victor examined the circulation logs. "Look here," he whispered, pointing to late-night sign-outs by students with AV club access. One name popped up repeatedly: Elena Santos, student council treasurer and tech club regular. Intrigued, Mariam glanced toward the help desk, where old security camera feeds looped continuously. The librarian, Mrs. Eshen, approached, peering at their anxious faces. "If you're looking for missing tapes, the AV room has them," she offered gently. Mariam realized the same room that held the cameras might also store incriminating recordings. With Victor at her side, she swallowed her fear and headed down the narrow hallway toward the AV room, uncertain what they would find behind its locked door. Inside the AV room's cramped space, dust motes danced in a sliver of afternoon light. Tapes lined the shelves with cryptic labels: Talent Show 24, Assembly, Holiday Recital. Victor rummaged through a box marked Student Council, hands trembling. "This one's newer," he murmured, pulling out a labeled recorder still warm to the touch. Mariam's pulse quickened. Could this hold a clue? They pressed play. Static gave way to a secret conversation between two indistinct voices. One voice, muffled, spoke of disposing the evidence and pinning it on the star athlete. The other laughed coldly. Victor paused the tape. "This isn't just a confession, it's a plan." Mariam recognized the second voice as faintly familiar, but she couldn't place it over the hiss. A sudden knock made them jump. Principal Philip's stern face filled the doorway. "Is everything all right in here?" They improvised. Victor stepped forward with an apologetic smile. "We, found an old recorder in the hallway and were checking if it belonged here." Philip's eyes narrowed, but he didn't press further. He simply nodded and walked away. Once the door clicked shut, Mariam let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "We're running out of time," she whispered. Victor studied the clip again, isolating speech patterns and pitch. "The second speaker, I recognize her laugh. It's Elena's." Mariam's stomach tightened. Why would a student council officer target her? The puzzle pieces refused to fit. Gathering the tapes and recorder, they raced to the computer lab to extract the digital audio. Even as they worked, the final bell threatened to ring, unless they could crack the identity behind the disguise. The computer lab's hum greeted them as Victor hooked the recorder to an old desktop. Mariam paced, glancing at the clock. 30 minutes until the end of term assembly. When Victor hit extract, the audio file appeared. Using software, he enhanced frequencies and removed noise. "Listen," he said, playing the clip again. This time, a distinct background beeping emerged, like the intercom system near the counselor's office. Mariam's mind raced back to her afternoon meeting with Mrs. Ackend. The counselor's intercom beeped every time a call came through. Could the tape have been recorded there? Victor pulled up a campus map. If we trace the wiring, we can find where this pipe of sound leads. Mariam nodded. They grabbed the recorder and dashed out, determined to track the wiring back to its source, and hopefully reveal the culprit's lair. In the dim corridor behind the counselor's office, wires snaked along the ceiling, disappearing into a maintenance hatch. Mariam found a creaky ladder propped against the wall. With Victor's help, she climbed up, heart pounding. Inside the small crawlspace, narrow conduits carried cables into the wall of an adjacent room. Vice Principal Akinsanya's office. The realization struck them both. Someone had tapped into the school's PA lines to record private conversations. Below, the intercom buzzed faintly with announcements. Mariam traced the wires with Victor's flashlight. "This splice looks recent," Victor observed, pointing to fresh tape around the junction. They followed the cable further, finding a hidden microphone and recorder rig discreetly planted in a ventilation duct. Mariam stared at the rig, anger flaring. Whoever did this is desperate. They carefully bagged the device as evidence. Now they just needed to identify who had the motive and courage to frame her. They carried the rig to the AV lab, where Victor examined the serial numbers on the recorder. Only a few were issued, he noted. Cross-referencing inventory logs, they narrowed it down to two names: Elena Santos and Mr. Daly, the AV technician. Mariam's brow furrowed. Mr. Daly was quiet but helpful. Elena had always seemed overambitious. "Let's confront them," Mariam said. First, they found Mr. Daly locking up in the darkened workshop. He shook his head sorrowfully when presented with the device. "I've no reason to sabotage Mariam, or our principal," he insisted. Next, they strode to the student council office, breath catching as Elena looked up from her desk. Flushed, Elena stammered when shown the recorder. Victor pressed gently. "Why frame Mariam?" Elena's composure cracked. "She overshadows me in everything," she confessed, voice trembling. Before they could respond, the assembly bell rang. The final bell echoed through the halls as Mariam and Victor led Elena toward Principal Phillips' office. Word of the confession tape and hidden recorder would spread fast. He deserved to hear the truth from them first. Elena, head bowed, offered no resistance. Inside Phillips' office, the principal's gray eyes widened as she laid out the evidence. Rigged wiring, the recorder, the enhanced audio identifying Elena's voice. Philip ran a hand through his hair. "I trusted you, Elena," he said quietly. Elena's tears fell. I wanted to be the hero for once." Mariam felt a pang of sympathy, but justice had to prevail. Victor handed Philip the cassette. Philip pressed play. The distorted voice became clear as Elena's own confession. Philip made a call to security, ensuring Elena would face disciplinary action. Relief flooded Mariam as the weight lifted from her shoulders. Later that afternoon, the auditorium buzzed with end-of-term excitement. Mariam took the stage to accept the Sportsmanship Award, her teammates cheering louder than ever. Principal Phillips stepped up to the podium. "Today we celebrate integrity," he began, glancing at Mariam with pride. He recounted the ordeal, commending Mariam's courage in uncovering the truth and Victor's dedication to justice. The audience erupted into applause. As the crowd dispersed, Victor found Mariam by the exit. "You ready for summer?" he asked. Mariam smiled, tucking a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Only if it's less eventful." They walked out together into the warm afternoon sun, free from rumors and ready for new beginnings. Proof that friendship and persistence could clear even the heaviest stains on one's name.